Join us today as we explore the ruins of Finlarig Castle. Today we are on a peninsula between the River Loch Tay and Loch Tay, just over half a mile from the small highland town of Killen.
Oh, that's steepy steep. Oh wow, it's quite a bit.
Finlarig Castle was built in 1629 by Black Duncan Campbell of Glenorchy. It was one of the many strongholds built in Argyll and Perthshire by the Campbells of Breadalbanes. That's the original keep tower there.
Yeah.
Join Kayleigh, Shalon the dog and myself as we explore this little known ruined castle. Sir Duncan Campbell, 1st Baronet of Glenorchy, was a powerful chieftain in the Campbell clan. A landowner, courtier and favourite of Queen Anne of Denmark, he was also the progenitor of the Earls of Breadalbane and of Holland.
Above the main entrance to this castle is a coat of arms. But it is not the coat of arms of the Campbells, whose castle this was. It's actually the royal coat of arms. And it is a symbol of the friendship and the loyalty for the Campbells to the crown, and also a symbol of the crown's protection on the Campbells. Oh wow. Ooh, gun loops. I like me a gun loop.
Yeah, some gun loops here. It's really involved.
I'm assuming we're in the kitchen basement area of the original keep here, and then it was extended that way in the 1500s.
Okay. So the original tower. And yeah.
Oh wow. There's some interesting looking rooms up through there.
Yep. Going for investigation. Vintage.
You're going for an investigation. I'm staying firmly down here with the dog.
Pick the walls. Good indication. Again, you've got the indication of the vault there. So this whole area here would have been part of the vaults, so the kitchens,
I think
food.
I think here where I am, I'm stood in a passageway that connected the old range to the new section with them rooms off it, with you being in the room.
Yeah, and then of course above where you can see the vault in there, that would have been your main floor for halls, and again they've got windows further up for rooms above, so you're looking at least 3 stories here. Yeah.
Do you think you could get to that door?
Yeah, probably from the inside.
That looks interesting.
Little investigation. Wow.
Oh.
Okay.
Torch.
You can see that sign that says
Do not climb. What sign? Ah, there you go. Hello.
we are up. Touch the feet and into the main part of the cave. After a bit more research, we were able to find out that the castle itself was actually built in a Z-shaped plan. There was 2 towers, one at each end. Sadly, one of these towers, there is absolutely nothing left of it now. But the other one, as we can see, gives us a good indication of how this 3-storey building was actually structured. And one of the main key parts here allows you to see the various rooms on each level with their own fireplaces. The Parliament of Scotland was summoned to appear at Finlarig in 1651, but only 3 members actually turned up. By all probability, the existing stone castle sits on the site of an original wooden structure that would have been here from a much earlier period. Duncan Campbell became the 7th Laird of Glenorchy. He was known to have been a ruthless and shrewd man to deal with, hence the name Black Duncan. This ruthlessness and dealings would see his family rise to be one of the foremost families in Scotland, and he was knighted at the coronation of Anne of Denmark on the 17th of May 1590. King James VI invited him to the baptism of Prince Henry in 1594, but asked him to bring venison and wild fowls to the occasion.
It worked a second ago. There you go.
Here.
Me and the dog are standing guard.
Yeah.
Look at the window.
There's little gun loops there. There's a floor over the guard room. And kind, yeah, gun loops. And then you can view who's coming around the castle towards the main entrance. But that gun loop there is right towards the main door. And again you've got this And even in here, if they breach the main door, they've still got this position where anyone trying to get inside the castle. He's got a computer open to it. See if we get that came in, but not the original. Probably was a doorway at one point. You can see through there and another gun route. Right inside the castle here. Station part of the right, you'd be looking after the clan chief. And then of course up there to your main staircase, to your main floors above. Another doorway down there as well. So this bit here is all collapsed in from above, so this, what we're actually standing on is probably the original slabs for the stairs.
Well, that piece certainly looks nice and flat just there.
This was your another doorway, so you've got your main doorway into the castle here, and just off it you've got that room there, which I reckon was probably a retinue room. It's defensive positions, and another one here which would also connect on to the kitchens and the sinks. Hello. Yeah. Much longer structure than we do here. This say, but it's simply starting to deteriorate. This will straight piece of here now is just keep the collapse down you very top section. So yeah, this castle would belong to the Campbell's Breadalbanes.
And even after they stopped using it as a castle, they kept it as a burying ground, as a lot of families seem to have done.
So this here was the family crypt.
You see the coat of arms above the door, look.
I can clearly see the Campbell's arms above the door. Up there, we'll get a photograph of that. And yeah, so this was the mausoleum.
Oh, it's a very nice mausoleum.
Sadly, fallen it.
That is a substantial mausoleum.
Yeah, it is a substantial mausoleum. And the style is almost, where I see it, been made to look like Roslyn Chapel. Very much some of the shapes are very indicative of some of the architecture that was like Roslyn Chapel. Of course, I've got back all here to just discover which this would have probably been another tower here, and you can see where the staircase was starting to round and make its way to the floor. Probably the entrance, this is probably where the servants and such like would have served the main hall, because it does seem to be straight off the kitchen area here.
Yeah.
Looks like this was probably a servants' entrance to the main hall so that the food could be taken up without using the main staircase.
Drain for the kitchen, if that's in situ where it should be, that's probably a drain for the kitchen area.
Yeah, it looks like it. So I mean that confirms that this was probably the main kitchen. Here you've got that passageway for entering up to the main hall here. We've got a runoff here which is coming off this wall here. So this has definitely been the kitchens down here. Fortunately none of the main fireplace, well that would have been the main fireplace there running up that wall there.
Yeah, you can see where the chimney was.
Yeah, the chimney went straight up there, so yeah, definitely this was the kitchen area. So, quite clearly after the extension was built, this would have been the Great Hall here at the castle. You can see the doorway that I came up earlier on, just here. And even into the tower here, another doorway, but this bit here looked like it was one nice big room. So I think it's safe to say, with the kitchens here, the servant entrance over there,
And the very, very large fireplace.
and the very, very large fireplace, that fireplace would have went up to from the kitchens, would have joined on with another fireplace at the Great Hall here, and yeah, so this would have completely been the Great Hall. You can see that the windows here were much larger as well, the ones that are left here. So yeah, you've got your Great Hall here, and then above that would be all your living apartments for the chiefs and for his family. So, famous figure would actually visit this castle. He was a Highland legend, a Highland rogue, a Highland hero. His name was Rob Roy MacGregor. And you may ask yourself, why was a MacGregor here at a castle that was owned by the Campbells? Well, they had one thing in common. They all hated the Marquis of Montrose. Now, from Rob Roy's point of view, it was a case that he did actually own or owe the money to the Marquis, who did try to get him to betray the Marquis of Argyll, the Campbell himself, to say that he was a Jacobite. And if he would do this, he would write off all of MacGregor's debts. But MacGregor was a man of principle and refused to take part in the schemes of the wealthy and the powerful. And for this, he would be a hunted man. He'd end up becoming a bit of an outlaw, a total rogue. And the term blackmail actually comes from the fact that the MacGregors would offer to look after your castle, your cattle. And if you refused, well, your cattle would start to go missing. So it was actually cheaper to pay for the blackmail money to make sure that your cattle was safe. But part of that also was the fact was, if any other clans came in and took your cattle, the MacGregors would go and get it back, and by any means possible. So that is where the term blackmail actually comes from.
This is the famous killing pit of Finlarig Castle. It was in this pit that they would execute noblemen. You can even see here the groove where they would have had to kneel down to lay their heads before they were executed. But it was only noblemen that had the gift of being killed relatively swiftly. If you were less noble, if you were a common, then one of these trees would have been your fate instead. You would have been hanged. And they tell stories that when they had to chop down the main branch of the hanging tree because it was old and rotten, that they discovered a groove worn deep into the branch where the rope once hung.
Legend has it that there is a ghost that haunts these ruins. The ghost is believed to have been one of the people executed here on the grounds. To this day, this spectre roams throughout this castle ruins. Remember that clan chiefs were the law. They could decide who lived and who died amongst their lands. But for one spirit, he's not happy about the decision that was made on him. We also share pictures from these adventures on our Facebook and Instagram pages. Try giving them a look. Hope you've enjoyed this little adventure to Finlarig Castle. And if you have enjoyed it, then please think about hitting that like button, and if you wouldn't mind subscribing, it would be much appreciated. And next time we'll see you again on Exploring Alapa and Beyond.
So this is something very cool to see. So these trees have quite clearly been felled by a beaver. You can see the chop marks where they've gnawed through their trunks. And if we come back up here just a wee bit, where you can see more trunks that have been gnawed through. I mean, I highly doubt we'll actually see any beavers, as cool as that would be. But it's good to see that they're here and obviously thriving. If we come to this tree, just here, you can tell that it was felled incredibly recently, because at its base is still all of the shavings from when the beaver has taken it down. And you can tell by the colour as well that it's very, very fresh. It's not darkened off.